everyone, and welcome back to Purple Noon, a podcast. I am Stephanie Conti, and I am here with my best friend, Savana Lanausse, and we are presenting our 100th episode.
Woo!
Woo!
4 years and 100 episodes later. Can you
Which
believe it?
is crazy. We actually have for our 100th episode a big list of movies that we're going to get into in terms of movies that we've talked about. And there's going to be a lot of, oh my God, this was an incredible find. But there's also going to be a lot of, I don't remember a single thing about this movie because
Yep.
we ended up reviewing about, it's 4 pages worth. I think it ended up being close to like 130 to 150 movies in 4 years, which is a lot because keep in mind, this is not considering the movies that we did see and then didn't want to talk about. And I don't even remember those. I know that there's a few of them, but I don't remember the titles or anything like that. And also, we didn't talk about every new film that we saw either. So, like, all of the like best of 2023 2020
Right.
2 and stuff, those don't count because we didn't do individual reviews for them. So this is all based on individual reviews, or where we used to do the trio of reviews, and it's that list. So probably in terms of movies that we've talked about on Purple Noon, I would say it's closer to 200, but dedicated episodes where these titles were in the name of the episode, it's about 130.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
so crazy.
It is so crazy. And of course, before we begin, Savannah, how are you doing?
Good. I'm so excited to be back and talking about our 100 episodes. We got some good memories on this list. I'm looking through
Yes.
them right now and I can pick out some. How are you?
I'm doing good. And we had been planning out the 100th episode for a while. And I will
Yeah.
say, with spoilers, because it just didn't end up happening, it'll be something that we'll probably try again in a few months. For our 100th episode, at some point, we actually had Kevin Smith on our roster. But sadly, due to some, family issues and stuff, like his mom at the time was sick. So I was like, you know what, no, boom, we're going to cancel. We'll chit-chat about this, in a few months from now when things have settled. So who knows? Maybe that episode will happen another time, and we won't mention the movie that we were going to discuss. But it is crazy to think that like our 100th episode has kind of gone through many renaissances in terms of what it was going to be. And Savannah, you were the one who came out with this idea of just doing a massive recap of everything that we talked about. And I think it's a great way, although having, Kevin Smith on is going to be awesome when that eventually happens.
Of
I think
course.
this is more fitting for a 100 episode wrap up. Very reflective, and also looking at how kind of things changed over the course and everything. How we used to do a little bit of TV shows, a little bit of shorts here and there. So I think this is going to be a nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah, and like I said, I just think there are a lot of really good memories here, and I feel like it's going to reintroduce us to a lot of the movies we watched that we forgot about or maybe don't remember well. So it's going to be pretty fun.
Yes, and there will be definitely times where we're going to go, I don't remember this, and then just move on because we're not going to waste our time doing the research and stuff. And this is all like authentic. We want to get what our impression was. And if a movie wasn't memorable, it is what it is. If it was memorable, we'll have reasons why that we'll quickly talk about. And of course, as we go through, we're also going to highlight some of our favorites that we discovered through Purple Noon. So like, of course, like things that were hailed as like my favorite movie, The Thing, or Savannah's favorite movie, Goodfellas, we're not going to highlight because those were already pre-existing, but kind of like the random stuff that we stumbled upon because of Purple Noon, we're going to put some emphasis on. All right, Savannah, are you ready to rumble?
Woo, I'm ready.
I got my Diet Coke, so if you hear a little at some point, that's just me. That's just me reloading. That is me reloading for the next sip. So I'm gonna take my first honorary Diet Coke caffeine-free sip. And for all of those who say just drink regular Coke, it's healthier, I disagree. I feel like crap when I have a regular Coke, but that's just me.
I love
Peace
Diet
and love.
Coke. I love Diet Coke.
Peace and
No
love.
one's going to tell me. No one's convincing me of anything. I love Diet Coke.
And also, it's late. We're recording this at night. I want enough of the sweetness, the artificial sweetness, to carry me through, but not enough to keep me super late up. So Diet Coke it is. But we're also Diet Coke early, so we're like, oh my God, of course, like that's just who we are. We are very stereotypic. I feel like you and I have like some very common, like, and I feel like everyone has a little bit of a stereotype here and there, but you and I are ride or die Diet Coke girlies.
Yeah, no one's convincing me of anything about that. It's
No one.
Diet Coke forever, and that's it.
All right, so let's start off with the most obvious, Purple Noon. I mean, classic. It's funny now that we're talking about Purple Noon because there's actually not only been, but there's going to be even more reiterations of Purple Noon down the road. What are your thoughts on those?
I'm very excited. I really love Purple Noon. Obviously, there's only one Elaine Delon, but the actor they picked to, I think, reprise the role of Tom Ripley was very good. I'm very much looking forward. It's the priest from Fleabag. I can't remember his
Oh,
name.
I know, but he's awesome. I mean,
He's
that was
fantastic.
probably like, I feel like many people who like Fleabag love season two for that priest arc involving him,
Of
and it's
course.
just so iconic. Like the when she's like, "I love you," and he's just like, "It'll pass." Like so iconic and on it like awesome. Like I think he'll do a killer job at being Tom Ripley.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, Purple Noon's a classic. That's our original episode. I think if you're going to start anywhere, start there.
Well, Purple Noon also for, and we mentioned this in our first episode if you want to go back and listen, but Purple Noon was the first Criterion I had shown you, as
Hmm.
well as Purple Noon was the first Criterion film that I had ever bought and watched. It was just something that, like, the cover was very aesthetic. I was like, oh, this looks like a really good movie. I had vaguely heard about the Criterion Collection, and so it was actually the first Criterion I ever bought, too. So I feel like it's also probably one of the best introductory Criterion films I think a person can watch.
It's definitely very special to us. Everyone go watch it
Now
right
we
now.
also have, because we did a comparison with it, The Talented Mr. Ripley. As time has passed, I think I have a little bit more of appreciation for The Talented Mr. Ripley than I did the first time I watched it, but I still think Purple Noon is the best reiteration of the original book, Talented Mr. Ripley.
I think it's entertaining for sure, and I liked I like Jude Law's character, his interpretation of what's the other guy's name? I don't remember.
Greenleaf, Philip
Greenleaf.
Greenleaf.
Yes, Greenleaf. I think where that movie went wrong, if I'm correct, is just like it kind of got too much psycho killer, but I do think it has its place for sure. I liked it.
I think it had a great look for it too. I think they did like they really nailed the aesthetic for it for, being made 30 years later. I think they really did a good job at nailing that 60s like a coastal Italian aesthetic. Another thing that I think is really noticeable that if I recall Talented Mr. Ripley, the one character that actually comes to mind is Philip Seymour Hoffman's character.
Yeah, that's true. That
That
is
he
true.
he very much stood out, and I don't think that role from my memory played much of a role in the original Purple Noon, but he was very flamboyant in the role is what I remember. And I remember watching being like, I wouldn't have casted Philip Seymour Hoffman for this role, but it works.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that is The Talented Mr. Ripley, another recommendation. Now we're going to get to the film that I don't remember anything of, and that is Two or Three Things I Know About Her.
Okay. Do you know the only thing I remember about this episode? I remember that when we were reviewing it, we were mimicking the whispers of the film. So we were imitating a French accent. We were just going into the
Oh
mic.
yes, 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 because
That
that's literally like they were
that
doing
was the
that
movie.
intermittently, like between scenes, and it was like so like even if I knew French, I'd probably be like, huh? What?
That's the only thing I can remember about what I don't know what the movie's about, but I remember us doing that.
Yeah, I I think I can also imagine like the cover because I'm the one who edits the videos and stuff. So I also have a little bit more of a muscle memory because I kind of tend to stare at the clips a bit longer and stuff, and I pick out the photos and everything. So I do know what the photo I used for two or three things I know about her like is. It's a photo of the redheaded girl from the movie. That's all I know. I know that there's a redheaded girl in the movie, and I don't remember anything else besides now the whispering that you just jogged my memory about.
It might be about prostitution, but
Maybe.
I don't know where I got that from. I just feel like there was anyway, let's move on.
All right.
I love The Virgin Suicides.
You know, it's one of those movies where I think about and I'm like, I don't remember if I liked it. I gotta go listen to the episode. I just remember someone sleeping in the football field.
Yes. Do you remember Father Moody? I think his name was. We were trashing him. He was the
Oh,
priest, the rock star
yes.
priest.
Yes. Yes. I do remember I was trashing some parts of it. Another part that I do remember about the Virgin Suicides was that I loved the soundtrack of it.
Yes, Magic Man, so good.
Soundtrack is really great. But, even right now, even with those stills, I'm like, I still don't remember how I felt about it.
I love Virgin Suicides. I don't actually remember how you feel about it too, but I know I like it, so.
No, I don't think I was a hater. I feel like maybe I think I gave it like a 7 or so. But I
don't
don't remember a lot of it. I just remember like a lot of like female teenage angst and hate I almost said Hayden Panettiere. No, not Hayden Panettiere.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kristen Dunst. Sorry, I'm getting my blondes confused.
Yes, the other blonde.
But yeah, like I'm just like, oh yeah, that movie has a killer soundtrack, but I can't remember much. It might be something I have to go back to. But this is actually your favorite Sofia Coppola film, right?
Up until I saw Priscilla, but yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's the Virgin Suicides. Now we have 3:10 to Yuma, the 19th.
Couldn't tell you a thing. Tell you a thing.
I remembered liking the shit out of this movie because I remember I really liked Henry Ford in this movie. I can't believe I remember that much, but I remember liking Henry Ford in this film because it was the first time I had seen like a Western where majority of the characters were very soft-spoken and not trigger, happy. So that's what I really liked about it.
Zero recollection of this movie. I don't remember, like, now that you said it's a Western, that makes sense, but I could not tell you a thing about this movie.
This is one that I think is worth revisiting from my memory. I think we did have I think, you know what it was? We were pleasantly surprised, but it's still one of those movies where it's so similar to a lot of other films that it doesn't stand out incredibly much.
I'll believe you.
Okay.
I have to look it up. I really do, because I have no recollection, but I believe you.
Okay, and then the next one, banger film, Europa by Lars von Trier.
I really liked Europa. I was really impressed with Europa.
This was, I genuinely think it's Lars's best, in my opinion, because I think it is the most, and I really do like House that Jack built and stuff, but this one has the most rewatchability, and it's so creative in terms of the way that it's made. I love it. And honestly, like, I remember talking about how I was really impressed with the fact that Europa was actually made before Schindler's List. And I think that maybe Spielberg had some inspiration from the coloring of Europa in order to make Schindler's List. I also remember the funniest fact of a drunken Lars von Trier during the Cannes Film Festival when Europa wasn't picked, standing up, cursing everyone out, and putting middle fingers to everyone publicly in the middle of the audience and getting banned from Cannes for a few years. That's what I remember about Europa as well.
I remember, I think I remember saying, if you want to ever try a Lars von Trier film, this would be it, because
it's the most digestible. It's the most digestible.
I also think it's the most creative. I remember, though, I got in trouble because I made a stupid joke about how I said he was a Nazi, clearly joking. I got
To be fair, Lars has made that joke himself.
Yes,
to be totally fair, he was making that joke.
And then I got scared because I'm like, his fans are going to come after me, and I don't know how his fans are. But we're over that, But I remember that about the movie. But I do like Europa. I think it's maybe the only Lars von Trier film I like. And Forget, but we'll get to that.
So that's true. That's true. So would you say, for me, I would give a golden star to Europa, because that's one I didn't watch before. I didn't know much about it. I had seen the trailer, but I had watched it for the first time. But do you think, for me, it's gold star worthy, but do you think it's gold star worthy?
Yes, because I had not that I had low expectations. I believed you when you said it was good, but I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did because it was Lars von Trier, and I'm usually not the biggest fan of his. So yeah, I'll give it a gold star.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm putting it on the list for Purple Noon discoveries. Now, keeping with the World War II and Nazi themes, we actually ended up reviewing a TV show called Hunters.
Hunters is the
Another
best
banger.
show the Amazon Prime has ever put out. I'm so upset that it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. We have to talk about season 2 eventually because I
Yes.
adored season 2. Logan Lerman is fantastic. I think this is gold star only because um, it's a fantastic show. I don't feel like it gets enough recognition. I don't know how we found it. I think you found it first,
Oh,
and
I'm
then
a
you
Logan
introduced.
Lerman whore.
Oh my
I love
god!
Logan Lerman. I used to have photos of Logan Lerman in my room and stuff like that. So like even into like adulthood and stuff, I'm like, oh my god, I love Logan Lerman. So that's how I knew about it because I had followed his Instagram and I saw it and I was like, Logan Lerman and Pacines. I slapped it
Oh
on the
my gosh!
list.
Very quickly, you made the funniest, and I know we have to move on, but season 2, premiere of season 2, you made the funniest joke you have ever made to me of all time.
I was
The
thinking that
NyQuil
too.
joke.
I was thinking that, like there's some moments where people just have their day. I
Yeah.
had my stand-up comedy day with you at your house because there's a moment where the main character in season 2 is in a brothel and he goes to a brothel every damn day
To find,
to
yes.
find what a Nazi who goes to that brothel once a year. And I was just cracking jokes about it. And like, I remember saying like, can you imagine if he was like sick and like was like high on NyQuil while peeking into these rooms and stuff? How insane would that be? But I had such a delivery. I remember it so clearly. Like you were laughing so hard. Like it was probably the most I've ever like, and I make you laugh, but like this was the most I'd ever seen you laugh at one of my jokes. And it was, I'll tell you what, I'll never forget that because that was the biggest ego boost I've ever had that year.
I don't know what, because kind of remember the joke, but it was just because it was so fast and out of nowhere. It's a very serious scene, by the way. It's a very like
Yeah,
climactic
and I just
scene.
came out of left field, be like, can you imagine if he's sick and on NyQuil doing this? And it was just very like out there, and it really caught you off guard. And I think that's what made it so good.
It was great. We really have to review season 2 so we can talk about that for
I
sure.
agree. I do think, and especially since that this show has, as far as I know, been said to end with season 2, I think it would only be fair to wrap it up and give Hunters its beautiful send off.
Oh my goodness. There's an episode in season 2, and I think that's what Zone of Interest was trying to be. We'll talk about it later.
Oh, okay. I
Beautiful,
actually, so
beautiful
get this. So I don't watch TV shows anymore because I tried watching them with my boyfriend, but he has ADHD and can't watch a TV show. I'm like, I don't understand because he can watch YouTube videos like nobody's business, but it is like pulling. And I got like, he was at a point where like he was watching TV shows for a little bit with me and then it stopped. And then I stopped watching TV shows. So I got to go back. There's so many shows I like started like 1 or 2 episodes and I got to go back and I got to finish. And Hunter season 2 is on the top of my list.
Yes.
All right. Next one. 3 Women.
This
Is that the one with Shelley Duvall?
Yes, and Sissy Spacek. I remember us being underwhelmed.
Disappointed
Yes.
with that film.
We were very let down.
And not with the leads. It was the writing. I felt like, look, Sissy Spacek and Shelley Duvall are going to deliver. They're going to deliver. It was the actual plot that I felt like I had issues with. Like the bare bones for a good story was there from what I remember, but the execution was not.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Now we're going to Persona. A little bit similar, actually, in terms of like story-wise and things like that. Like I think like 3 Women is like a Persona like homage, right?
I think so, but Persona just was so amazing. Do you remember that great theory you had, like that revelation that you had when reviewing the movie?
Bestie, I'll
So
never
good.
forget a moment where you stroke my ego. I'll never forget a moment when you do that. Yes, I do remember because I was very proud of it. Yeah,
That's
it was
a very good theory.
Yeah, it was. And you know, it's funny. I don't remember the theory, but I know I had a really great theory. I had a really great theory about Persona that, like,
It was like it was like an all, like, because there's a scene where she's in the bed and you were just like, what if this was all in her mind? And it was just like you connected all the pieces really well. And I was like, you know
yeah,
what?
yeah. Like I was
What?
like, oh, like because it was like involving an actress, right? So I was like kind of thinking that maybe it was like something like she was having like a delusion or something of so. Oh yeah,
Right.
because I thought she was like actually because remember it ends up like with her in like a mental asylum. Like I
Mm-hmm.
had theorized that I think that she never actually like went to that beachy area villa type thing, that she was
Yes.
always there.
Yeah.
And I remember the moment though, like I told you, and you were like, "Oh my god!" Like
Mind blown. Yeah. Yeah.
so that one was a good one. And I remember I also told that theory to Sensei David. Our one of he's been on our podcast before. One of our episodes, I told him that theory, and I think Savannah it was because you brought it up, and I laid it out, and he was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "Wow, thanks, guys! Like this is a great moment for me." So Persona is one that I think is good. I definitely feel like I want to revisit it though soon, just because
Yeah.
I remember it being good, but I don't remember to the scale of how good it was.
Yeah. No, we definitely need to. Maybe we just rewatch the episode and listen to your theory for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure, Z's. All right. This one I know and I like. It's weird, but it's The Dead Don't Die. And you know what? My favorite thing about this movie is Adam Driver's
Oh
yuck.
yes.
Yuck. Every so often. This movie was weird, but it was nice and it was funny.
Oh, the I have an affinity for Mexicans is a line that stayed in my mind.
Yeah, there's a scene where Adam Driver's talking about Selena Gomez, which I forgot that she was even in the film, and he's like, she's Mexican, and Bill Murray's like, how do you know? She's like, I have affinity for Mexicans, which is so weird. But really, this was my first Jim Jarmusch movie, and honestly,
Hmm.
it was fun. It's very much like a Shaun of the Living Dead, that type of hearted comedy. And I really enjoyed it. And it's totally something like I would rewatch again soon.
For sure. I remember really enjoying the movie, like having a good time with it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now we have Florida Project. Did you? Yeah, I think you had watched the movie before we had talked about it on the podcast, right?
Yes, because I love the Florida Project. So good. Such a good movie. This was the not the beginning, but like a a revival of my affection for William Dafoe.
Yes, this is what kind of prompted your William Dafoe renaissance,
Yes.
where this is when, like, you know, this was even at a point when I think, and it's been changed since, but like one of our passwords to like a subscription that we were using was like Dafoe something. It was a very well integrated affair that you essentially had with William Dafoe mentally.
I intertwined us very hard with William Dafoe. Yes.
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 But this was the first Sean Baker film that I had seen. And I think it was your first film of his, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's been super cool because since he actually follows Purple Noon on Instagram, which is like such
Fangirling.
a fangirl stardom moment. And I really love him as a director, and I think he is I think he is someone that now he's doing Florida Project. He did Red Rocket, and he's probably going to make some other bangers. I don't think he'll fully receive the appreciation he deserves until 15 years from now,
Oh,
when
for
people are
sure.
being shown him in film school. And you know, like I think he has so much potential. Like compared to all the new directors who are out there, or newer directors, I think he will achieve at some point like Scorsese level stardom, or like becoming a household name eventually, because I think the stuff that he chooses to make is super important stuff, not only for a story purpose and like spreading a message, but also they seem very, very important to him.
I think he is one of the very few people that are telling very specific stories that nobody really wants to tell. And he's actually doing it by going into the communities and hiring like actors from that community. So I really admire like his mission almost, it seems that he has.
Yeah, I think, and he has such a great way with handling tough themes. And we were even talking about during our Lolita episode how I had said that I would love to see him kind of go back and do like if anyone were to touch Lolita the remake, I think he would be the one to handle it well with grace, because especially with what he's done with Red Rocket, I think he's able to handle that type of dark themes, while portraying it accurately, but also giving fairness to at each and every angle, essentially.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
All right, the next one, I don't remember a lot in terms of the actual sequences, but I remember the impact of it, and that is 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days. What do you remember about that film?
I don't remember much.
I
I
remember
don't, I remember having like a nice discussion, but I can't tell you what happened in the movie, like at all.
I remember some stuff. I remember the end primarily. And I just remember watching it and realizing that it was such an important film. And we had decided to touch that movie during a time when, in the US, Roe v. Wade was overturned. And, I think it was an awesome discussion because, I'm pro choice, you're pro life. And I felt like we were able to have like a really solid discussion on abortion topics, how it's portrayed, and even in something like in film and everything. So I'm very, very proud of that episode because I think we even have like a few comments on that episode where people are like, wow, like this was a great episode and everything. I think we did a really good job handling that one, despite us not remembering much of the movie. I think I do remember though being very content because I listened to that entire episode afterwards to make
Right.
sure that like, you want to just fine tooth comb that, so that way nothing can be taken out of context, whatever it may be. So I remember being very proud with how we talked about that type of topic.
Yeah, for sure. I just unfortunately it's one of those movies I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember like we ended up having a good discussion for
It
sure.
was a slow burner, and I think that's the probably going to be the biggest trend where the slow burners tend, it's not a matter of whether or not they're good, it's a matter of whether or not they're memorable. So 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, in my opinion, was a slow burner.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now we have a excellent one, and this was during the height when we record this during Oscar season when it was all the buzz. This is Parasite. Um, Fantastic film. Probably one of the best films, in my opinion, made within the past like 10 or 15 years.
This was probably like the best theater experience I ever had. Just being able to see, I saw this movie, I remember in October 2019 on a whim because I heard it was good. I have never had the same experience I had watching this movie in theaters. I am very excited. I don't know if you heard, but the same director is coming out with a film soon with Robert Pattinson. So I'm really looking
Ooh.
forward, really, really looking forward to that because I really loved Parasite.
Yeah, I love Parasite so much. My bathroom theme is Parasite Peach. Like,
Parasite
no
Peach.
joke. If you look, you'll be like, oh, it's a little like peachy theme, but it's Parasite Peach specifically because I have a Parasite poster above the toilet, right next to like a bunch of peach themed items and stuff. I don't know. I wanted to do. It was during like lockdown. I wanted to change up my bathroom, and like just kind of because I was like redesigning my room. I was like, I'll redesign the bathroom, and I settled on Parasite Peach, and I think it's been the best decision, like in terms of like theming that I've ever done before.
I agree. I really like the Parasite Peach.
Parasite, classic. If you haven't seen it, you gotta. It's just overall a fantastic film. Next one, we're gonna hit William Dafoe again. We have the oh no, I was thinking of the Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
I accidentally read the Lighthouse. No, this one is the
You're
Lobster.
thinking of the what had
Because I was
lobster.
thinking, you love me, Lobster.
Yes,
That one
exactly.
scene he has at the lighthouse. But no, we're talking about the Lobster, the Yorgos Lanthimos film, which now that name is kind of a household name due to Poor Things. But with the Lobster, this was a film that you had watched, that you introduced to me, and great film.
It's a
Like,
great
it's a
movie. It's a
great movie.
great
It's
movie.
a weird movie, but it's great weird. It is so good. It's so unique. And I think the one thing I always keep forgetting at some point, I always have like a shell shock moment and I'm like, wait a minute, John C. Riley's in this film? Like,
I
I always
know.
forget that he's in this movie.
A great cast. It has a great cast. It does have something to say when you watch the whole thing. I think this is probably, in my opinion, his best movie. My favorite movie of his, I should say. So
Of John C. Riley?
no, of
Oh, sorry. Yes, that makes more sense.
John C. Riley, I probably would say I like Talladega Nights. Yeah.
Step Brothers, man. Step Brothers. But no, that's a fair one too. But no, I with Yorgos, yeah. So far, my Yorgos library isn't. I haven't watched a ton of his movies, but I do say that The Lobster is an excellent film.
Yes. I very much like The Lobster.
I barely remember anything about the next one. This was one of those things that I had saw on the Criterion channel, and I was like, well, we'll give it a whirl, and it was a whirl indeed, and it was a movie called Five Against the House. I remember it being a gambling film.
No clue.
No clue? We move
I
on.
don't remember. I'm sorry. So sorry to this movie. I do not remember.
The Passenger. And so this is not to be confused with a movie that came out recently called The Passenger. This is another movie called The Passenger that I can't tell you anything about.
You know, this was the Maria Schneider movie, right?
Oh my God. Yes, the one with Jack Nicholson.
Yes, I remember because I've never seen her in anything but Last Tango in Paris. So I remember her because that's the only
Yes,
other movie
I don't
I've
know
seen her in.
why that when I think of like when I imagine the cover of it, I don't imagine The Passenger being the name of, but you're totally right. But you totally jogged my memory. This was a movie that had incredible like a credible like backbone, failed miserably in execution.
I remember we were disappointed.
Yeah, because you also had like Maria Schneider now holding a candle. She had just tangoed with Brando. Now she is in a film with Jack Nicholson and holding a candle to her own, by the way. And I always thought that was so impressive. She was always so underrated as an actress. And this was just a movie that had a good outline, but midway and then down and out, it tanked. It just did not make
Yeah.
sense. This is one of those films that I remember saying, if you're gonna touch an older film and remake it, do this one and just make it better.
Yeah, I agree.
Next
Needs
one
to be
is
remade.
another one of your beloveds, the movie Her.
The Sofia Coppola hit piece, yes.
Yes, yes,
A great Joaquin Phoenix film, though. Really, really great movie.
yeah. Spike Jonze. I love Jackass. I still think Jackass is my favorite work from Spike Jonze, but I love Her. Her is an awesome film. That's definitely something I would want to like refresh on because it's been a while. But because you had told me about it, I was a little bit more pleasantly surprised with Her after viewing it than I thought like it was going to be. So Her is a good one. Also, another great soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got 8.5. This
A
is
classic.
one of my favorite Italian films of all time, and it's my favorite Federico Fellini film. I love the way it looked, love Marcello Mastroianni, and I just think it's just, as someone who grew up wanting to be a director and still has those dreams and visions, this was such a nice like insight to the field of it, but while also adding a unique and interesting story. So I love 8.5.
Yes, me too.
Classic. If you've never seen it, you gotta see it. Like I said, favorite Federico Fellini film. Now another one, and this is what started my renaissance, my very poorly timed renaissance of liking the actor Gerard Depardieu, who, by the way, can we talk about the fact that the charges were dropped? What the hell is going on in France? I don't want to know. I'm scared for them. This man has been tried like 5 times and he's been put through the ringer. And then it seems like, oh yeah, it's well deserved. But then you have the president of France going, no, don't touch my favorite actor. And it's weird. It is weird. I'm not going to form any opinions on it. And I'm going to be respectful for all sides on it. But as of right now, Under the Son of Satan was the one that kind of launched me into that Depardieu, thing. And look, He kind of looks like my boyfriend. I
She doesn't like when you say
he
that.
doesn't like, but look, my boyfriend is a much better looking version of Gerard Depardieu. But listen, if an actor kind of looks like my boyfriend, I think that actor is handsome because I think my boyfriend is the most handsome. Forgive me. So, Under the Son of Satan kind of trickled. And you know what? I don't regret it. I don't regret having my little moment with Gerard Depardieu before I knew about everything because it introduced me to a banger film that we will get to later on.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember much about Under the Son of Satan. I remember liking it though.
I do too. I don't remember the premise, but it
Was there a shotgun involved? Why do I remember a shotgun being involved?
I just remember he was a priest. That's it. And it was French. And I don't know anything else. But
I remember a crazy woman, a shotgun, and a priest. And honestly, that's all I need to know. That it was a good film.
It was good.
It was a good film.
Yeah.
All right, now we have Chasing Amy. Classic.
I remember. It was good. It was
classic Kevin Smith. Enjoyed it. It's not Tusk though. Sorry, Kevin.
Tusk, but it's
moving
on.
Moving on. It's not Tusk.
I think we'll get to Tusk too, so I'm very excited.
Oh yeah, we will. We will. But Chasing Amy, great Kevin Smith film, but it's not Tusk. Next one. Three Faces. Lord, if I know what that movie was.
I have no clue. What is that?
Do a quick Google search just to even see. I don't. I think, was it an Iranian film? Holy crap! Right. It was. It was. Yeah, I remember. That's what everyone was telling me, that like Jafar Panahi is like a really good director, and I watched it and I was like, maybe. And I felt really bad about that, and now I don't remember Three Faces.
I don't remember it at all. I couldn't tell you.
To be fair, I don't think, from what I know about that director, and it's very little, I don't think that was considered his best work. So I'm sorry. I'm more open to other films from him, but I don't remember Three Faces whatsoever.
Yeah. Sorry, everyone.
But now we're getting to banger. Twin Peaks season 1 and 2.
Oh, a great television show that we have to watch season 3, and I've been trying to get you to watch because I have questions and no one can answer my questions about the show.
That's another show I gotta get to. How silly is it? I claim myself to be a huge Twin Peaks fan, and I've maybe only watched half of season 3. And you know why? It's because David Lynch does too much. I can admit that as a David Lynch fan and stan. He does too much sometimes. And I felt really bad skipping through like the scenes where a coal miner is just staring at me for 4 minutes when I'm watching Twin Peaks season 3.
I do too.
Twin Peaks season 1 and 2, I'm sorry. I know season 3 is good. I don't see myself thinking that 3 is better than 1 and 2.
I wouldn't say that at all. But I feel like it's a whole season 3, it's its own entity. That's what I'm gonna say. But season 1 and 2 are like chef's
season
kiss.
1 and 2 is the best because you have a coherent Dale Cooper.
That is true.
The best character in the show and one of the best TV characters of all time. It last year was actually like a big year for me and for you too, I hope, because we actually got to attend a Twin Peaks panel, and to say I was giddy is an understatement. And we also got to meet Kyle MacLachlan, and that was, he was so kind, so sweet, and it was such an awesome moment. And it makes me appreciate Twin Peaks even more. And I have a signed book. I have a signed Twin Peaks book. It was the Secret Diary or the Secret Tapes of Dale Cooper. And it's signed by Kyle MacLachlan. And it is just the best thing ever. And I love the show even more cool since meeting him.
Very awesome.
Now, continuing with Twin Peaks, Fire Walk with Me. Honestly, one of David Lynch's best films. Even when it's not connected, I do think you have to watch Twin Peaks in order to get Fire Walk with Me, and that could be seen as a crutch. However, the visuals in Fire Walk with Me, oh my god, the angel scenes is probably one of my favorite film scenes ever.
So cool. I really like how that movie ties everything together. I think he did a great job. Really love that.
Oh, and it was good. It was such a smart choice that they did it as a movie because it really got graphic, but it really emphasized like how dangerous the situation that Laura Palmer was in and the monster. And it really just like, after watching Twin Peaks first 2 seasons, watching that movie and then rewatching Twin Peaks season 1 and 2, it is honestly a killer experience because it totally changes the how intense all the scenes are as you're rewatching them with this new context.
Agreed.
Now we have Black Klansman, which love. Love, 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 love. I think it's an incredible movie. It's one of my favorite Spike Lee films. My favorite is also on this list, but I thoroughly enjoyed Black Klansman. I loved watching it in theaters, and I think it's a great film.
Same. Really good debut for can't remember his name, but Washington. Yes, really good.
Yeah. Uh, oh my god, David. He has like 2 first names, right?
Yeah, something like that. But
Something like that. But great actor.
John David
Washington. Okay, so there's Black Klansman. Now, and I'm gonna group these 3 together. These were short films. Okay, I was in love with these 3 short films, so that's why I really like them. They weren't by Yorgos Lanthimos, but they were by another Greek director, I think, with the name Yorgos. I'm gonna double check that right now. I loved these. Were very short films that had a big impact. Casus Belli was a short film where you saw people on a line to a food bank. Like, you essentially like went through different versions of lines until you got to like, and it compared like people in line for like valet and stuff, but it was all one sequence where ultimately the line ended at people getting food from a food bank. So I loved those short films. I thought they were excellent, and I wish that there was more stuff from this director. Because I also remember The Third Kind. This director really did so well with really pointing out problems that were going on within Europe. So like whether it was, the hunger crisis going, and also like the immigration issues that Greece had been going through. I loved his stuff. Yorgos Zois is the director's name. And the 3 short films are Third Kind, Casus Belli, and Eighth Continent. Do you remember a lick of any of them?
No, I feel bad, but I do not. I don't remember.
This is honestly, these are 3 short. I think you should either go back and watch the short films or just kind of hear yourself talk about the film. Because I think...
Yeah, it really is going to be the short films for me today.
Yeah, no. And that's fair. But I had picked these 3, and I was like hunting for The Third Kind because I had desperately wanted to see it. So that's why it's more ingrained into my brain. But those, I still recommend checking them out. Those were excellent, and I wish the director made more stuff. Now we have 12 Angry Men. This was a special episode because we did it with Sensei James.
Oh yeah, such a good episode.
This was an awesome episode where we got to discuss it, and we also talked about I'm not sure, I think we did multiple episodes with did I say Sensei James? Sensei David. I'm confusing the names now. Where it was David Blakesley from the Criterion cast, and we had done several episodes with him, and one of those episodes was 12 Angry Men, and that was such a fun episode and a great movie. I totally get why it's hailed as like, one of the best of all time. It was really ahead of its time.
I agree. Classic for a reason.
You guys already know how I feel about The Thing. And you already know how Savannah feels about The Thing with her fucking 9 out of 10. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse.
Literally, that is like a pinnacle moment for this podcast. When I gave it, what did I give it at first? Like an 8 out of 10? And I got slammed for like 20 minutes straight by you. And then I...
Yep, that was I remember you said it, and I just went, like, I could not believe that you were doing that live even.
If you guys want to hear her, like, slam me into my grave, go back to, it's her birthday episode from, like, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to the last 20 minutes of that because it is literally 20 minutes of her just digging into me. And she said, like, I remember you were just like, what if I gave the Muppets a 6 out of 10? That's what I'm going to do. And then you were like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
was,
sit.
I, because I thought you were going to give it like a 10 out of 10. I genuinely thought you were going to give it a 10
I
out of
feel
10.
that way now after rewatching it
Yeah,
twice.
wow, whatever. But now we have Hunger, which is the Michael Fassbender film.
I vaguely remember this, vaguely.
I remember the poop on the wall. I remember
Okay.
there was poop on the wall. There was a lot of starving. I do remember the really cool scene where it's literally like a 16-minute one take with Michael Fassbender and another actor. And I thought that was really impressive. But good movie. Not a lot of rewatchability, but
Probably
a good
not,
movie.
no.
And now in terms of not a lot of rewatchability, definitely the next film, which is 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah.
Great film. Excellent film. Super well made. Lupita Nyong'o, the acting
Another
in that
great
film was,
debut. Another
oh
great
my
debut.
God, that was insane. However, extremely hard movie to watch. I also, I every so often I get a meme on my Instagram and it just reminds me of, oh, what's that one actor's name? Who was the new Riddler?
Oh, Barry Keoghan?
No.
Oh, not Barry Keoghan. Oh my gosh. Yes. I know
I'm
exactly.
blanking on
Paul
his.
Dano. Paul Dano.
Thank you. I always get videos, and I'm always reminded harshly at how profane he was in
Oh
that
yeah.
movie. But a great film, well acted. You know, it can't. It's definitely for its time Oscar bait. But if any movie's gonna be Oscar bait and be good, it was 12 Years a Slave.
For sure.
It was an excellent film. Now we have my favorite Spike Lee film, Da 5 Bloods. It's my favorite because I love the performance by I think his name is Delroy Lindo when he is going manic in Vietnam, and it's insane. I love Da 5 Bloods. Do you remember much of it?
I remember all of it. I was very upset that he didn't get nominated that year. I remember, and I don't think this movie got any recognition. Um, I know one thing we talked about is how much when we watched the film, how little we knew about like the Vietnam War. And how
Yeah.
crazy that was that we knew that small amount about the Vietnam War. There's not a lot of war like movies about that specific war too. So I just thought it was like a great.
And there's also not a lot of movies made about like primarily like you know, African Americans, Black people involved in the war. Like it's not
Yeah.
often portrayed. Like if you ever watch any World War II movie, Korean War, any of those, everyone is white in those movies. So this
True.
was like a really interesting side to see. And then also I cry every time I watch this movie, not only because the performances were so moving and so good, but seeing Chadwick Boseman in his
Oh
final
yeah.
film and not realizing what he was going through and everything like that, oh, it makes me cry. But it's such an amazing film. I really think it's Spike Lee's best. And not to say that it's like his only good film. He makes banger films,
Oh no, but it's
but
our favorite.
The 5 Bloods is my favorite film from him and probably in my top 10 favorite films of all time.
Yes.
All right, now we got 24 frames, and you know what that means. I have to Google it because I don't remember what
You
it
know what
was.
it was? It was the movie that was just moving pictures.
Oh, that was a tough one.
That was a horrible like
Pretty Pictures.
it's not a movie. You're not gonna tell me that's a movie. You're not gonna tell me otherwise. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that was by. This is another director who I have not. I've heard of, but haven't gotten to a lot of his stuff. That was Abbas Kiarostami. That was one that 24 frames. It was a cute little idea for a short film, but I don't
No,
know
thank
about a full
you.
feature movie.
Anyway. um
Next one too.
No clue.
Seed. I'm
No
looking it
clue.
up. I think this was one of the short films that we watched. Let's see. Okay, this was to vaguely jog your memory. This was a newer short film that came out in 2015. That was about natives, and it was about like a woman living in the mountains and stuff. And not the U.S. natives. It was like Kyrgyzstan. I don't
No
remember
clue.
a lot of it, but I do remember, I think we had watched this because we had watched another one of her works.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
I couldn't even like I can't even find like a picture in my mind.
Okay. Okay. I know why. So this was paired with another short film called A Gentle Good Night that we saw, which is also on our list. This one I do remember because it was really good. This one was about a woman who her daughter goes missing in China and is like trying to like look everywhere for her mother, like for her daughter. Do you remember anything about
Very,
that?
very briefly. I know what you're talking about, but I just don't remember like what happened.
Yeah, those two films. Because I don't know why I specifically picked those two, um, but I remember those being paired with one of the movies. I think it was In the Mood for Love. It was paired with, but Cide, I don't remember much of. Gentle Goodnight, I do remember some, and I remember liking it a lot as a short film. In the Mood for Love now.
Ugh, what a great movie. I appreciate it. It's kind of like what you said about The Talented Mr. Ripley. I appreciate this movie more now. I ugh, such a
I
good.
appreciate this movie even more now after watching 2046.
I really like 2046 though. I
I
really loved 2046.
Yes, like I think 2046 I love and I like more than In the Mood for Love. However, I know that In the Mood for Love walked so 2046 could run. So that's why my appreciation for In the Mood for Love grows. And also too like looking back and seeing Wong Kar-wai's like his style was just so good. He had just such a great style of film with the green hues and the yellows and everything. Like I think his films have such a unique look to them, and they're all beautiful.
Very
Butterlamp, I don't
beautiful.
remember.
No, I don't know if Human Voice either. I don't know.
Butterlamp, I don't remember, and Human Voice, it kind of sounds familiar. I have a feeling just because of the name of it, it was something that I like, so I'm gonna look it up real quick. But I don't. The short films sadly don't have the biggest impact as they should. Okay, so oh, oh my God, Bestie, we have to know the human voice. This was the
Why?
short film with Sophia Loren.
What? I don't remember.
Yeah, this was a short film with Sophia Loren where it's like only like 25 minutes long, but it was directed by her son before she made that newer movie with him.
I genuinely don't remember. I'm gonna have to look into it later because I don't.
It's yeah, I definitely want to revisit it because it says a woman in the twilight of her years rides an emotional roller coaster of her last telephone conversation with the man she loves as he's leaving her for another woman. But they're like older, like they're like
Oh
in
no,
their.
she's like she has to. If this is recent, she's got to be in her
It
80s.
is. I think this was like 2016 or so. So that's one that we're going to definitely have to revisit.
For sure.
24 Hours in the Life of a Clown. Me. No, I don't remember it. I kind of remember the cover. I don't remember much about 24 Hours in the Life of a Clown. I do
I
think
don't
it was
either.
by a famous French director. It might have been by the same director as Le Samurai because I do remember it being paired in that episode. I don't remember. I don't have memory for clowns, though. My
No.
apologies to the clown community. Le Samurai, though. Iconic.
Very good. Of course, a classic.
Iconic. Great. Alain Delon. One of his greatest, but not his best. Not his best. But Le Samurai is a great and iconic film, and it's definitely a must see. It is actually, before starting Purple Noon, my most watched critique video with like
Yes.
30,000 views, which is crazy. So there's Le Samurai. Of course, it's Alain Delon, so it's fantastic. I do not remember J.M. Mondesior. That's
No
for
clue.
sure.
This is gonna be like the
I think we're now fizzling out of the stuff where of the short films. I still want to pay credit to them because I, as a short film writer and director myself, got to give credit to the short films.
Of course. I think as we go through them, it might be just easier to like be like, okay, don't remember it, but we're gonna move on. This is the short
Yeah,
films
because
we
we
want to.
still got a lot of films to go, so we're gonna have to start going a little bit quicker.
Yes.
The Swimmer.
Ugh,
Gold star.
so good. It was so good. I remember it was the first movie that I was just like, why did people flirt with each other in the 60s, like in front of their spouses?
I get it now after watching it. No, but Swimmer was a good one that was actually suggested to us by like a long time like fan, like who had followed me before Purple Noon was made. Great recommendation. And we had also paired it with another great film that you are actually reading the book right now, Valley of the Dolls.
I have such love for this movie. I
It's
have
so
such love
good.
for the
Valley of
story.
the Dolls is also going to get a gold star just because I think it is so underrated and it deserves more hype. And I think it's like an unsung hero of like the films from the 60s.
For sure.
Lechette du Styrene, factory
No,
film. That's all I remember.
I don't know.
I don't remember when I saw that we watched 39 Steps. I genuinely said, I watched the 39 Steps.
Yeah, and we didn't like it.
Oh, that's
what I
probably
remember.
why.
We didn't like it.
Okay.
That's the only thing I remember with that movie.
Next one, Gold Star, Come and See. One of the
Oh
most
my goodness.
important films ever made about World War II, and just one of the most best and important films made in general.
Couldn't agree more.
Also, a human testament to how good the director was for having a child look like they've gone through hell and back on screen. But then when you interview them, the kid's like, I just remember happy times. Like to have that and just to like do that and be like, oh, I remember having a good time. That shows that you know how to work your actors, but you also care for the well-being of your actors. So Come and See is probably one of the best films that I think any person could watch because of its importance. And we were talking about it recently because we saw Zone of Interest. And maybe we'll talk about Zone of Interest in a future episode. But
Sure.
Man in the Well was a short that I know jack shit about, so we're skipping through. So was The Black Case. Black
No
Case was a
clue.
short film. And by the way, if you're like, where are you getting these short films from? The Criterion
Criterion.
Channel,
Look it
specifically.
up.
Spirits of the Dead, I remember feeling iffy about this one. I remember Jane Fonda being in this film, and I was like, Jane Fonda's in this film? That's all I remember.
I have no idea what this is. Like, I can tell you.
Yeah, this one was like I said, Jane Fonda's in it. She's young and she's hot in it, and that's all I remember. So we'll move on.
No clue.
Interview with a Vampire.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, chef's kiss.
I
will say, I recently saw a few clips from the new Interview with the Vampire show, and that looks phenomenal. The casting looks even better.
Really?
So I am really excited to watch that maybe during the fall because it has fall vibes. But I'm very excited to see like the story continues and they're doing a revival because I just really enjoyed the first version of it.
I was telling you recently that I hope as Tom Cruise can no longer do like action films, he's got to preserve his knees, whatever's left of them anyways.
Yeah.
But I really hope he does. I want to see him do like films where he's fruity. I want to see him do some weird stuff. I want to see him try out and get out of this action shell. I want to see him do things that aren't so common. Like I think like him in Tropic Thunder, for example.
Oh,
I want
yeah,
out
that
of the
was great.
box Tom Cruise for the next 10 years, and I want
Yeah.
nothing but that.
Yes, yes, yes.
Antoine and Colette was a boring French short film that was by the director of The Woman Next Door, which is was it Truffaut?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was a boring Truffaut film. So was The Bakery Girl of Moncho. Fight me on it. Not everything that Truffaut does is art, but one thing that he does do, banger romance films like The Woman Next Door.
If that's not a gold star,
gold star up the wazoo.
if
Gold
that's not a
star.
gold star, I don't know what is, because that movie has a chokehold on this podcast. It will forever have, and it has a
It's got a
chokehold on you.
chokehold on me. I was shelling out shekels for years just to be able to watch little increments of the movie because the Criterion Channel is the only place that had it. But now I have it on DVD. So whenever the hunger takes over, I can be fed. But that's a fantastic film. And listen, there was an interview with the director of Boyhood talking about this film. And he was like, when someone thinks of Truffaut, they don't think about The Woman Next Door. Let's change that, guys. Stop thinking about all his other Pierre Lafaux or whatever the hell he was making. The Woman Next Door is his best film. Fight me on it.
Fantastic. I I really hope the Criterion wakes up and makes like a physical copy of this movie.
Wake up, guys! Wake up!
Wake up. Because you got two. I would pay. I would pay for the 4K. 100%.
I immediately pre-order. Be the only Criterion I'm pre-ordering within the past 5 years. Okay, next one. The acquisition or acquaintance of a lonely John. The only reason why we had done this was because this was a the brothers, the Uncut Gems.
No clue. I feel so bad.
This was a softy short film. This was like one of their like NYU films and stuff. So that's that.
Okay.
Aux East Silly Auf. I remember being a banger. That's a good one. If you're going to watch any short films from this one, this was a short film adaptation of a Rainier Werner Fassbender movie, and it was great, and I recommend it. I don't remember what movie it imitated. I just remember it was an imitation of one of his films.
I'm so ashamed.
And it was a banger. And it was a banger. And now we have another Rainier Werner Fassbender film, Fox and His Friends. Loved. Loved. Enjoyed. I love a good lottery flamboyant film. Bring them to me. Love it. I love what Rainier Werner Fassbender was doing at the time. And I have made, not a promise, a desire to watch every Rainier Werner Fassbender film this year. So wish me luck on that. I haven't started. Monster House.
Such a fun, goofy little review he did on it. I love it.
Awesome.
Monster House is so good.
Classic. I would give it a gold star, but right next to it is the gold star, and that is Houseu, one of the most iconic Japanese horror films ever made. Fun for the ride. The Screaming Cat.
Dude. The Screaming Cat is the star.
Star of the show. You know, someone probably took that cat and just started shaking it until it screamed just to get that 2 seconds of footage, which is very funny to me. Spirited Away. Look, I'm not going to give it a gold star because everyone and their mother already gives it a gold star.
I don't even like it that much. I think it's creepy.
That's fair.
Honestly, I did like the new one, The Boy and the Heron. I'll give him that. Like, that's a great movie. I'm not a big fan of the director. I think he's kind of a mean old man. And that's what I'll say.
He kind of sucks that way. Like we were talking about it the other day where he's just a spiteful old hag, isn't he? Love your work, dude. Love the universe you created, but damn, show your son some love. Wouldn't kill you. He's so rude.
So mean. He's such a and he makes these whimsical movies. But anyway, we gotta move on because maybe we'll do a podcast on him.
Yeah, deep dive into his family trauma. Night of the Living Dead, classic.
Yes,
but let's be honest, it's not Tusk. It ain't Tusk.
The fact that was like what the episode centered around was just being like, it's not Tusk though.
It's not Tusk though. Look. And I love me Resident Evil. I love me zombie. And I also know that the director of Night of the Living Dead was actually supposed to make a Resident Evil film. And that is still not enough to sway me. That is not enough to sway me from the sheep. I am not a sheep. Tusk is number one. We both know that because we're higher minds. Friday was a weird short film about like people standing outside waiting for a serial killer to get executed.
Yes.
It'll stay weird. We're not going to discuss any more about it. But Tusk, gold star. Just watch it. Great movie night with friends. Now we have Jaws. Look, it's great. It's not going to get a gold star because everyone and their mother knows it.
I remember I told you I had a crush on, I can't remember what his name is. He's also in the other.
Look, there's three men. There's 3 men you could have a crush on in that film, and all of them are red flags to have a crush on, bestie.
I think he's cute. I think he was specifically cute in that movie.
Okay, is it the lead?
No. It's not the old man.
Listen, bestie, you better come up with a third option because it can't be Robert Shaw and it can't be Richard Dreyfuss.
I think it's Richard Dreyfuss.
That's crazy. That is insane.
I think it's just him in that movie and nowhere else do I have a crush on him except specifically in that movie.
He yells in every movie. He reminds me of Wallace Shawn, but slightly better looking. Like, he reminds me of the guy who's inconceivable. Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws?
Because he's smart in that movie and he wears a cute jean jacket, okay? God.
That is insane. That is insane. That's crazy, man. That's really crazy.
This is what you did to me in that episode too, just so you know.
I forgot about it, and I'm gonna because I needed to bury that memory away. I can't. That would be like me coming out of left field and me going, you know who's cute? Tommy Lee Jones. Come on.
Tommy Lee Jones is cute when he was younger.
Dog. Okay, we gotta move on. We gotta move on. We got Amblin, which was one of like Steven Spielberg's first films. It wasn't good, but he was new to the game. So I can't really blame him. Les Three Boutons. Good luck remembering that. Not.
I feel so bad.
I think it was a famous French filmmaker. I think it was a famous one, but I think we're gonna feel bad about not remembering that one. But it's okay. Four Quarters. Good luck remembering. Don't remember that. Poltergeist. Banger. Steven Spielberg's best. I will fist fight someone on that.
So good for its time. I wish, honestly, there needs to be more poltergeisty movies. Genuinely.
Yes.
And done well.
Yes. With the real life puppeting and the practical effects and everything. Yes. Poltergeist, I won't give it a gold star, but it does deserve it. I will just say that. Arch Enemy was a film that was made by some people I know. Now, Arch Enemy is one of those weird films that has kind of I look at it as a much different lens because the cinematographer for that movie is the cinematographer who passed away during the set of Rust.
No way.
Yes. So I know the producers of Arch Enemy, so that's why I was like, oh, like I'll like, and we tagged the production company that was involved with it and stuff. But I remember like when the Rust incident first happened, I was like, holy crap, like that woman worked with, that production and was on Arch Enemy. So it's I don't remember. I remember it being good, but it could have been better. I did like, and I was surprised and I'm surprised that I'm even remembering that Glenn from how It's Always Sunny is in the movie.
I don't remember a lot of aspects about the movie, but I remember we had a really good time with it.
It was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. It was a nice ride. Daddy was a short film.
I remember
that. We remember because it was weird. Could have been better, but it was weird.
Real weird. Had Dylan Sprouse in it. Very strange.
And I remember him being in a little dress, and that's all I remember. Tenet. Loved it. I don't know why people or think it's a bad Chris Nolan film. It's not, actually. It's really well made still. There's no bad Chris Nolan films. That's the problem.
So here's the thing. I can't watch that movie anymore. I refuse.
Is it because like you had like a personal friend who like tormented you about the movie or something like that?
My husband and his friend for the next like 2 years after the movie came out would just sprout theories about the movie. And, like, I thought it was complicated. It's not my favorite, and I don't even think it's, like, anywhere near his best. But I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. I think we need to move on as a culture. And that's what it is. Like, we have to...
Like, we weren't even debating Inception for that long, but for some reason, everyone and their mother thinks that they have Tenet unlocked and needs to air it out every 6 months. Enjoy Tenet for what it is. A good action movie. Next film. 35 Shots of Rum. Oh, I remember being afraid that I was going to piss off the cinephile community because it's made by the same women who made Beau, Travail, Travel, and stuff.
Boring.
And 35 Shots of Rum is what I needed by the end of the movie. Next.
It was so boring that I don't know if you remember. You started to make up your own commentary in the middle of us reviewing. You were just like, what if we watch the movie and somebody photoshops me into the movie, me just criticizing it and making it better? That
was one. You know what sucked? Everyone was hyping it up on the internet. Everyone in the cinephile community was like, oh my God, this woman and her director and stuff like that. Look, she might have other bangers. I still want to watch Beau Travail. I will give it an answer. But I remember watching it and just laughing and going, this sucked. I did not like the movie. And I felt bad about it at first. But now I laugh back and I'm like, I don't think people... it's okay to admit when someone wasn't cooking. It's okay. It's okay to admit that.
It's no good.
47 Ronin, long.
Really long.
Next movie. Next movie. Not bad, just long. It's like 4 hours. Minari, good film, could have been better. Enjoyed the acting in it, and
Forgot we watched it together, but then I remembered we watched it online.
I
It
see.
had like an
I got
online
a
premiere.
season premiere
Yes,
virtual.
you did a really good job, and it was like a really somber. Like I just remember being like, "Huh, okay." I was expecting more than what it was, but it wasn't bad.
But the acting was good, and even the I forgot her name. The older, I think it was the
Oh,
grandmother.
she was
She
wonderful.
was excellent in it. She carried the film. Awesome. Now we're gonna go to a movie that is dog water, and I will look at you in your eyes and think it's dog water. And I love this actress in the movie. I think she's fantastic. But this movie was dog water, and that is Nomadland.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. We discussed this.
Dude, like
Um,
just stop being prideful. You were given like a mother-in-law suite by your sister, and you said no thanks. I'm gonna live in my Amazon truck. Thank you. Oh, just that movie angered me. That movie I did not like. I also didn't think it was necessary. Why is it one of the only things that I remember being that? And then also seeing Frances McDormand full frontal in it. That wasn't necessary either. Like, it was just like, it just was unnecessary. The whole movie was unnecessary. And every time that movie was being praised, I was like, I don't think we watched the same movie.
it's boring.
Do the right thing. Classic. It did the right thing. It's iconic, and it's
It was good.
ahead
It
of its
still
time.
holds up today. Still holds up today.
There was also a Spike Lee short film called Three Brothers, which I vaguely remember, and I do remember liking, but I can't give you much on it.
As repeated before, no clue.
Oh, 400 Blows, excellent, excellent French film. This was the one that we also did with David Blakesley from Criterion,
Yes.
where we reviewed both 400 Blows and Rocco and His Brothers. 400 Blows, excellent film. I ended up
Such a
liking it a
double
lot more.
feature.
Oh,
That was such a
a
good double
solid
feature.
double feature too. 400 Blows, I think, is great. Do you think it's Gold Star worthy though?
Not for me because I probably like I think I said it like it's just not super rewatchable for me.
But the
That
next film, Gold Star all the way, Rocco
you
and
I
His
have a poster.
Brothers.
I have a poster you gave
It
me.
is genuinely, if I were to recommend like one Italian film to someone, it's Rocco and His Brothers. I think it's so ahead of its time, and it's just genuinely Lucino Visconti. I think it's one of his best.
Yeah.
Another round, which I remember repeatedly calling it by its Denmark name, Drut, which means drunk, or another round in Danish. And I remember loving the actor, hating the movie.
I think this is where we were split because I liked the movie. And then specifically remember somebody online got really mad at us and like explained the entire film and why we were wrong. Cause I remember we were both like, I liked it and you didn't, but we were finding middle ground. We were just like, yeah, it could have been better. This person like eradicated us in the comments. Like, did not like this after that. That's what I remember.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, like maybe it might have been like they were trying to explain like the cultural significance of it, and maybe that's where it went. I don't think it did, but I just think like it didn't have a lot of substance. It was just five old men get drunk and just see what happens, and one of them kind of dies in a boat, but
Uh,
not like in an accident, just kind of like slowly passes away.
I don't remember that.
So it's okay. I will say, I think Mads Mikkelsen is a terrific actor, and I've kind of been, I can admit, I kind of had delusions of revisiting this film after playing Death Stranding. But
I don't think
I
you're gonna
don't think
like
I'm
it.
delusional anymore. So we'll move on to the next Mads Mikkelsen film. Now we have Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow.
Chef's
Classic.
Kiss, Always Forever. Sophia Loren's one of her best. My favorite. Beautiful, funny, exciting,
Gold
amazing.
star, gold star, gold star. Bride, I put Bridge. Bride of Frankenstein. You mean Poor Things? It was
A
good.
No, I was disappointed. I was so upset that she was in the movie for 5 seconds.
Oh yeah. That's so true. Oh yeah, because you were like really into like the Universal monsters, and you like really enjoyed like the like I had gotten you a pin of her and everything like that, and you were just like, I'm so pissed off. But because they definitely make it seem like, you know, she's in the movie for more than 2 minutes.
Stupid.
Do I dare gold star this film?
You have to, because what a fun experience that was for us.
This was probably one of the best modern theater experiences of the movie Barbarian because of the fact that the trailer misleads you in the best way possible. It is a
Yes, it was
wild movie and it is so good, and it's very like awesome, excellent modern horror film.
beautiful.
Hard boiled, good. I don't remember a ton of it though.
Don't remember.
That
No.
was the super
No,
actiony, super
we reviewed it
actiony.
with James.
Yes,
Homeboy
we
James.
did. We also reviewed with James Marsh. We also reviewed 2046. 2046 stands out so much more, and I think 2046 deserves a gold star, right?
It's the love of our lives.
It,
Give it a
it,
gold star.
it was so good, and but Hard Boiled I remember enjoying, but it was just one of those like kind of like ridiculous 80s 90s action films.
Yeah.
71 Fragments of a Chronology of Chance was good. I just remember it was essentially like literally 71 fragments of someone leading up to do a shooting at a bank. And I thought it was
Oh, I
daring.
remember. I remember this now.
I thought it was daring and I liked it. And it's something that I kind of want to revisit.
I'd like to see this again. I need a refresher.
Now we have The Life Ahead. And am I wrong to think that this was a Sofia Coppola film? Not
It
Sofia
was a
Coppola,
Sophia
Sophia
Loren
Loren.
in her back in her prime in her 80s, in the most heartwarming, beautiful, heartbreaking, amazing
I sent a
Italian
photo
movie.
of me crying to you with this
Yes.
movie. It was awesome film, great, and she still as sharp as ever in this role. Awesome movie. Spring. Oh, Spring. This was actually something recommended to us by James Marsh. This was a weird one, but it was really
It
good.
was the monster
It
movie.
was the monster movie about the guy in Italy.
Yes, I remember.
That was a really fun film. It was by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. That's one that I really enjoyed. That I was pleasantly surprised with that film.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, it was just a fun time. That's what it was. It was a fun time.
Super fun. Clerks 3. Look, I worked on the film. It's good. No, but I genuinely do think, like, even without working on the film, I do think it's probably one of Kevin's top 5 films. I think Clerks 3 was an awesome wrap up to the Clerks series, if there ever was going to be a wrap up to the series. So Clerks 3, I did enjoy, and I thought it had really good messages and stuff, and I think it's a stronger Kevin Smith film.
I had a really good time seeing with you in theater, so agreed.
Oh, Malcolm and Marie, talk about dog water. Oh my
I'm
God.
so proud of us because this was at a time where I think his name's Sam Levinson, was being praised for Euphoria.
We were ahead
Like,
of the times.
and when this movie came out, he was kind of still being praised. And I feel like we were the only ones to say this movie sucked.
Yeah.
And it did suck. And I'm glad people are seeing him for what it is.
Yeah.
Because it was a horrible movie. And you're not going to convince me of nothing.
No, terrible movie. Probably one of the worst movies that we've seen because it reeked of self-inflating. Like the whole purpose of that movie was just to inflate and stroke his ego. And that's why I think it's a horrible film. Look, even Lars von Trier does it like it's nobody's business, but he still makes better films. Get a grip. The Voices with one of my favorites with Ryan Reynolds, where he is
yes
where he starts hearing voices and stuff, and the dog and the cat. Fun film. Very like people love him in Deadpool and stuff. I think that this is one of his best films.
I think this is a really good example of like what a dark comedy should be. So if you like that, this movie is good.
%. Now, I think this one does deserve a gold star because I think it's probably, in terms of short TV shows that only last 1 or 2 seasons, probably had the best arc each and every episode, and that is The End of the Effing World.
I cannot tell you how much we saw this at your house. I think we saw the whole thing in 2 days.
Yeah.
It was that good. I loved the actors. I wish I saw them in more things. What a crazy story to tell in 2 seasons.
It was so good, so well performed. It's something where like it is such a nice rewatch because when you watch it back again, you're able to like actually take in all the details, the dialogue, and everything. It is just probably one of the best Netflix shows available. Like I think it's one of the best shows that Netflix ever put out.
100% agreed.
49th Parallel, I remember liking a lot because I thought that it was actually very ahead of its time. And I remember it being like essentially like a Canadian propaganda, but for good reasons during World War II. So I did like the 49th Parallel, but I can't remember a ton of the story in it, but I remember liking it a lot to a point where I did think I watched it twice.
I don't know. I
That
have
I
no
think
idea.
that one should be a revisit, but I liked it. Now the next one is a very difficult to watch film, but another one that I think is like of importance as come and see is Beast of No Nation.
It's a Criterion
It
now.
is a Criterion now, and it deserves to be. It was my also first introduction into Idris Elba, and I think he's fantastic in it. And it is just, I remember seeing this when I was younger, and it had such an impact on me, and I thought it was an incredible film. So, and it was one of like the first major Netflix movies. Like it was one of the first ones, and it got nominated. So, Beast of No Nation is, in my opinion, like a must see.
Great.
Now we have Kingdom season 1 and 2. RIP this show because apparently Netflix Korea isn't doing any more with it. Best zombie based show ever made. Great story. The costuming and sets were insane for this series.
It was I literally barely remember the show, but I remember how good like it was while I was watching it. I remember how awesome because we watched a lot of it together too. Was great. I remember very specific plot lines. I remember like the queen. I really liked her plot. Like it was just
Excellent
crazy.
show. I think it deserves a gold star because it was just, I remember like I've seen that show 3 times. Like I love that show, and it's such a shame that because there definitely was way more room for that show to grow, and it's a shame
Yeah,
that they're not
yeah.
continuing it. Now, another banger show, Riget,
Oh,
Lars von Trier's
weird.
hospital drama that I kind of stumbled upon somehow. And it was the best thing because as soon as I found out, like, I, do you remember when I was like messaging people in Denmark about the third season? I was
Oh
so
yeah.
into it. You know, it's funny. I still haven't watched the third season.
Is it out?
It is out. It's on movie. I'm gonna watch it soon. I promise.
You have a lot of things you need to watch,
I
okay?
know. But I love Riget. I love Riget. Um, Now Zola was another good film. Zola, I enjoyed a lot. I thoroughly liked it when it came out. Um, yeah,
I liked Zola. I
it,
really liked Zola. It
Zola
was a
was really fun. Really fun. Pig. That was a weird film. I just remember Nick Cage being weird in it, but he's a weird in a lot of films, so it's not too much different, you know?
I just remember him like he looked homeless.
He
And it was
was.
like
Didn't he
about
live
the
in a
food.
shack?
Yeah, it was about like the food scene in Portland and then Alex Wolff was in it.
I remember it being good, but I remember it being not what I thought it was going to be.
It was just very forgetful.
Kingdom Ashen of the North was a movie that was like a companion film to the Kingdom TV show. Good movie, great movie. If you watch the show, give the movie a whirl.
This is like our most one of our most watched
It
episodes
is.
too.
It's got like 1,000+ views, which is crazy. Okay, moving quickly. Three Colors trilogy, banger, peak cinema.
One of the first criterions after Purple Noon to introduce me to. I think white has a special place in our hearts though.
White is my favorite. If I had to do an order, it's white, blue, red.
Yes.
Okay.
The right order.
Great film. 1984, I loved, and I was not expecting, and I think we were all kind of taken aback at how much I loved it. The way that that film looks is insane because that film and its quality looks like it could have been made today. Head of its time movie.
I was very surprised. Very much liked it.
Very good. Classic Mr. Nobody. I have a Snapchat video of you crying while watching Mr. Nobody with me.
That was
Excellent.
one of our first movies. So good. Jared
Yes.
Leto's greatest.
Jared Leto's greatest, and honestly, like just a fantastically written film. Tampopo, probably one of the best in terms of like just a fun, good movie to watch from the Criterion Collection. Tampopo, I'm gonna give it a gold star. Do you agree?
Agreed. If you are a film like a food lover, this is also just a really good movie to watch.
Tampopo also has an incredible scene where there's a woman who is dying from an illness and she cooks her family their like last meal from her, and she dies at the table. The doctor calls it, and then all the father does is start screaming at his kids like, eat your mother's food while it's hot, and it's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Nightmare on Elm Street, we love Johnny Depp in a little crop top. Great movie.
Goofy little movie. Yep.
Peeping Tom, ahead of its time. Great 60s horror.
Cheeky little British film.
Cheeky. Suspiria.
Spooky little witches, right?
Dario Argento was cooking with that film. That film is fantastic.
The colors were great. The coloring in that movie.
Excellent coloring, but the one that's going to get the gold star is going to be Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In.
One of the best vampire movies to date.
It is so good. It is really well done. It's a must-see. Night Porter, I love.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe I watched that.
It's toxic. I love it. This was when I was doing Freak Week. And this was the only movie that you and I like agreed to watch for Freak Week.
And that was like the low tier, and it was still so disturbing. I can't believe they made a movie like that. Like, I actually cannot believe somebody greenlit like the premise to that movie.
Look,
still insane.
I don't think you'd give it a gold star, but because I have such a profound appreciation for this movie, because I love it when a female director comes to the scene and starts cooking up controversy. I'm highlighting this and I'm giving it a darker, I'm gonna give it a red star. That's for like you, that's my you did something, girly star. You really did something. And look, not to say that it's like easy to watch a movie or anything. I just like it when women jump to the scene and are like, oh, I can play around with controversy. Love it, and I want to see more of it. Now, here are two films that I saw on my own, so I'm going to talk about them. I briefly went through them. Antichrist. You would have thought that Savannah would have seen it because of Defoe, but
no, it was too much.
Too much. Good film. Good Lars film. Could have been better. I say that to destroy his ego. Exorcist, iconic, classic. If you actually look at my face and you're like, but The Exorcist is not scary, you're wrong. You're wrong and you're misled. So, Antichrist and Exorcist. I just remember from Antichrist the fox going like chaos reigns, or just looking at the camera doing something crazy like that. And I remember trying to explain that film to you, and your face of disgust and shock was crazy. I also remember Defoe's dong being out in the wild getting smashed, and not in a sexual way, but in a hammering way.
Oh Lord.
French Connection. I think that's a gold star.
Oh, I like the French Connection.
That's an iconic film right there. Gold star.
Very good film.
Red Rocket. That's probably, I'm not going to do it. I loved Red Rocket. Red Rocket was my favorite film of that year when it came out.
I think I need to revisit because I feel like it's probably better than I remember. I remember liking it, but I feel like if I rewatch it again, I'll probably like it more.
It is. I think it was. It's one of those films where, especially after watching Lolita and after because some people have tried to talk about like controversies like that and stuff, and they just fail. And it was just handled so well. It was creepy, but it was still very respectful to the actors and everything like that who were in it. So I love Red Rocket. Nightmare Alley that was one of the best films of that year. And look, I'm not a Guillermo del Toro girly, but that is one of my favorite films that he's ever done.
It was amazing. Cate Blanchett is it. The cast was stacked. I don't remember if it won any awards that year. It was up for a few things.
I think it did win for Best Adapted Screenplay since it was based on a movie prior.
It was very, very good. I highly recommend it. It came out 2021 or something like that. It was very good.
Okay, now we're getting down to the last page of stuff. So we're We probably got
We're
like 30 minutes
moving.
left, so we're cooking. Goodfellas, of course.
Rip
Excellent
Ray
film.
Liotta. Rip.
Oh my god, it kills me that he's since passed.
I'm
Um,
so
do you
upset.
still consider this film your favorite film of all time?
I don't know if it's my favorite film of all time, but it's definitely my comfort movie. I know
That's
that's
fair.
very weird, but I very much like have seen this movie so many times. I very much love
No,
this
I
movie.
love seeing Ray Liotta beat this guy's face with the butt of a gun. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
It's no, it's a great movie. I do think it's one of Scorsese's best though. I think it might actually be his best.
I think it is his best,
I think it's his
personally.
best. Power of the Dog was a fun experience because of the jokes that I was making. Where what was it, Homeboy Henry or something like that?
So we were the only ones in this theater watching this movie. And we were screaming because you were making the funniest jokes when all of a sudden Bronco Henry, the character of Bronco Henry, was
I was
introduced.
making
And you
jokes that it was his gay lover, and then all of a sudden it was revealed, and everyone was
But the
screaming.
way it was revealed was he went into the river and was I don't know what was going on. It was like supposed to be a
He was
weird
bathing
sensual.
himself with Bronco Henry's handkerchief. That's what it was. He was methodically in the grass, nude, just dragging that little piece of fabric on him like silk. It was the funniest thing. Great
The
movie. And
reveal.
look, I'm saying, like, it sounds like I'm ripping apart that movie. I think that movie's fantastic.
No, I really liked the movie, but the reveal of that
I
was
think that
just
reveal
too
deserves a
good.
gold star.
I do too.
Okay.
Special place for the podcast.
House of Gucci, it was good. Love it because of Gaga. Honestly, most underrated part of that is Pacino and Jared Leto together in scenes was hilarious.
What did he say? Buff, right? That's
No,
what.
oof. It was
Oof.
so funny. And Leto was so. Look, I know Leto's a weird guy. I know he's weird, but he delivers. Maybe not as Joker, but he delivers in roles. I really like him as an actor. When he's good, he's really good.
He's very good. That's true.
Then we also talked about Godfather Part 1. That don't need a gold star. Everyone else and their mother has already given it a gold
Did we never
star.
do part
We
two?
never did Part 2.
Okay,
We'll
well,
get to
maybe
Part 2 though.
we'll figure it out.
Tokyo Drifter.
Oh, a colorful gangster film. How
Is
good.
that a gold star?
I think it is.
Okay,
I think
good.
we enjoyed it a little too much. And the singing in the movie?
No, 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 no. Oh, shit. We got another gold star in our hands. By the way, yes, Tokyo Drifter is an excellent movie. Two Men in Town? Two Men in Town was a film that I found on Amazon Prime or some shit. And I was like, oh, it's a little Alain Delon film. Let's give this a gander.
Oh my gosh,
It
I
is Stallone's
cried.
best performance. And look, you know I love Purple Noon. I love Purple Noon and I love The Samurai. But that Two Men in Town really solidified Alain Delon as an actor for me. And I think, like, he wasn't just a pretty face anymore. He was a man that made me cry.
He was so amazing in that movie. I really want to dive deep more into his filmography because if that's what he was doing, like we need to be looking at other movies too
Like,
because
I've never heard anyone talk about Two Men in Town before. That was a total blind grab. Like, hey, Alain Delon's in this, let's give it a shot. And I think it is probably one of the best French films made in that time. And it's
it
so underrated.
it's a rough movie, but it's worth the watch for sure.
Now, the next one that we have is On the Waterfront, which is a classic Brando film. I think it's one of Brando's best. Do you think? Where do you think? Because we've talked about, obviously, you know, I'm the Brando enthusiast here, but I hear a lot of people go back and forth between On the Waterfront and The Godfather being Brando's best. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I would say On the Waterfront specifically because I think we talked about it in the episode. It was the first time where we saw like a male actor be sort of vulnerable in his role.
Yeah,
And I think he opened up because he took that position and because he opened up this sort of new wave of acting. It has to be that. The Godfather is revolutionary on its own
I
because
think The
he's playing this
Godfather's
older Italian
revolutionary
man.
because of Al Pacino, not because of Marlon Brando.
Exactly. And I think he did a good job in The Godfather. I think he really like played that role
Oh my
well,
God! Look how they massacred my boy! It's iconic, iconic.
but as we all know though, Brando was a lazy actor especially as he got older. So this is him in his prime. This is him doing great things, like
This is
new
him when he
things.
cared, and you can see it. He
Exactly.
stopped caring after Last Tango, and you could tell because right after Last Tango he did Superman. So you can really like there's a big pitch down in it, and even still, like even in like the '60s and stuff, like late '60s, you could kind of see him like going like, okay, this is just for work now. But when you have like a fresh Brando on the scene, just trying to make it big and stuff like that on the waterfront is fantastic. I still think Last Tango in Paris is his best performance of all time, though.
Yeah,
Just
that
saying.
scene. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talk about vulnerability. Just
Which we
saying.
do need to review on
I
here.
know it's actually kind of crazy because I forget that we didn't review it on here, but I went on someone else's podcast and I talked about it for 3 hours. So I'll just do that all again here.
You love it. You love it.
I do. I do. Next film that we have is Lady Snowblood. Good. Not as memorable as I had hoped it to be.
I think it is a source of inspiration for a lot of other movies. I think it
Yes,
has good backbones. I like to see you know, a cool lady assassin for the girlies, but you could see how people have taken that and made it better.
I agree. Now we have the Grand Budapest Hotel, which I'm not going to give a gold star because we've talked about it many times before on the podcast. I don't feel like it's fair to say that like it's something we discovered through the podcast. But Grand Budapest Hotel is my favorite Wes Anderson film.
It's the best Wes Anderson film.
It is. Then I came out of left field with this suggestion: John in the Hole.
What a strange movie to suggest.
That was
What a
weird.
what a crazy concept that they put out on the screen. It's like they made the movie and they told us just figure it out. That's what they did.
But I enjoyed figuring it out. I still think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It's weird, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I think it's a good ponder piece, but I don't think it's like I'm not going to turn that on for fun.
That's fair. That's totally fair. Mama Roma, another film that
Very
we
good,
did with
very good
David
Italian
Blakesley.
food.
Great film. Anna Magnani is honestly one of my favorite actresses of all time. She kills it in every role, and she is the embodiment of like a younger Nona, Italian Nona and everything like that. So she is just stellar in that film. Now we're coming across our most viewed episode. Okay, this is our most viewed with, let's see, no, was it our most, no, it wasn't our most viewed. It was something that got like a crazy amount of views though, and it
No,
was so insane.
it is our most viewed on YouTube.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, yes. It's our most viewed with like 2,000 plus views, which remember, like our average is like maybe 100 per episode, and that's across all platforms. This was 2,000 on one, and this is the movie Empire of Passion. You've probably never heard of this film unless you listen to the podcast. It is a very obscure sexual ghost tale, and it was interesting.
You guys are weird for that, but we love you. It's okay. You guys are weird for that. You got me this movie on a whim for my birthday.
Because it said like, oh, I was like, oh, juicy romance, juicy romance. I was so wrong, and I'm so sorry, but honestly, it was a good film, so I don't regret it.
Oh my goodness.
I should have actually read more about the director, where it was like, oh yeah, his stuff was considered to be like X-rated in Japan, and he couldn't even edit his films in Japan. It was like borderline illegal.
You know what? It was a good discovery. It was a good experience. That's what I'll say.
I kind of want to see more from him. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's gonna be psychosexual stuff.
You just pre-screen it for me and let me know.
I got you. I will. Now, next one. I love how we went from Mama Roma, Empire of Passion, to now Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
But such a good movie. I'm so sad they never made anything like it again because it was one of Disney's best. Genuinely.
It really is, and I think because of that, this, even though I had seen before, it had been such a long time since I had revisited, and I think it is probably one of the best family films ever made. And also one of the even like how they even filmed this type of movie is so incredible to see the behind the scenes for it. So I'm gonna give Who Framed Roger Rabbit a gold star, if that's okay with you.
I agree. It's one of our faves.
Touch of Zen was a movie that we then talked about again with James Marsh, and this one was interesting. I remember it being long, but it being very transformative. Like it felt like I was watching two movies in one.
I was very confused. watching this movie. I
Yeah.
texted you multiple times. Um, I think the martial arts in this movie was very cool.
Yes.
And I definitely could see like the inspiration that other films took for it. But I do remember for at least half of the movie not knowing what was going on.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree. But I do want to see more stuff from that director.
Yeah.
Sunflower. Is this Sunflower? No, it's
Sophia Loren
Two
and
Women. Two Women's your favorite Sophia Loren film, right?
yeah. No, yesterday, today, and tomorrow is my favorite Sophia Loren.
Oh, I thought it was the Two Women one.
Two Women is my favorite performance from her.
Gotcha. Okay.
Sunflower is also up there because I think she puts a good performance on here. But this is he passes out and marries a Russian woman movie.
Yes. Two Women is a film I haven't seen, but based on what I've seen of Sophia Loren, Sunflower is my favorite performance of her. It's one of those films that it feels so far removed from a classic Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni film. It just has so much of a different tone and vibe to it that, like, when I remember, oh yeah, it's Sophia Loren and Marcello Mastroianni, it's almost a little bit baffling to me because it was such a serious film, and I just associate them with being like very flirty and fun and stuff.
Yeah, very
But it was a
goofy.
great film. I really enjoyed Sunflower.
Yeah.
The Chase was an episode that we recently talked about where it was like a failed blockbuster film of the 60s. I enjoyed it for what it is. Could have been better. I really
They need
love
a
the
remake.
soundtrack though.
They need a remake.
They need a
100%.
proper remake of it. But the soundtrack is killer. Soundtrack's killer. I literally have it on CD, and I literally posted about it on our Instagram when we were talking about this film. And then our last thing that we actually talked about was Lolita, and I think Lolita was a good choice to end on. I really liked Lolita.
I do too. That's my film. That's my movie, that's my story. So, I glad we were able to have like a really good discussion about it too.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed Lolita. It was a very nice surprise, especially because of obviously I knew it was a controversial film, but I love controversy. So I'm very like it's I liked it way more than I thought I would. Like I think it's a really solid movie. Now I just have some other stuff I had written, but that's it for you know videos. So that's it for movies that we talked. But just to do a little quick recap, our most viewed episodes on YouTube were Empire of Passion, the 49th Parallel / Beast of No Nation video, and Kingdom of Ashen, Kingdom of the I butchered it. Kingdom Ashton of the North movie were our three most viewed, where they ranged anywhere from like 2,000 to 1,000 plus views. Spotify, our most viewed videos with the 400 blows, and featuring Rocco and his brothers with David Blakesley. And then on Audemic Media, which is essentially the hosting website for it as well, episode 1 was the biggest episode. I mean, it makes sense. Usually episode 1 is the most popular. But what are your thoughts on Empire of Passion, 49th Parallel, Beast of No Nation, and Kingdom?
I feel like, and we've discussed this before, the people that watch us are looking for the like more niche stuff, or there are people out there looking for the niche stuff and come across us because we're the only people. Who else is reviewing Empire of Passion? Right?
Exactly.
Nobody. So I feel like what you guys are telling us is you want us to look up the weird or obscure stuff,
I'm
and we'll
about to
do our
go into like
best.
a basement of like an abandoned video store and just start finding stuff. Just start finding stuff that no one's ever heard or even seen and things like that. But no, and I'm happy that this is the way it is, because honestly it makes it more accessible for us to view older films than to view constantly newer films. And
Yeah.
honestly, in today's time, I really like going back and just kind of finding these hidden gems, and and doing so, and I prefer the accessibility, watching it at home and everything like that. But just to do a total recap of what we've said are our little gold star films that we've discovered along the way, we have Europa, the TV show Hunters, The Swimmer, Valley of the Dolls, Come and See, The Woman Next Door, Fox and His Friends, Hausu, Tusk, Rocco and His Brothers, Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow, Barbarian, 2046, The End of the Effing World, Kingdom, Three Colors Trilogy, Tampopo, Let the Right One In, The Night Porter as an honorary mention for me and my mental illness, The French Connection, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog, Two Men in Town, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Look, those are some excellent, excellent movies. But honestly, if I had to pick one movie, gun to my head, had to pick one movie as I read through all of these lists, the one that I think was probably the best summation of the golden ticket movies that we saw since starting Purple Noon was Two Men in Town.
You know, I was gonna say I was gonna say The Woman Next Door.
I mean, look, that's peak me, but Two Men in Town has I just because it's Alain Delon. It's kind of
Oh,
like
you're
going
right.
from
I
where we're
guess,
starting and stuff.
yeah.
You're not wrong. The Woman Next Door is. I'm always in my Woman Next Door arc, so it doesn't feel like a thing of the past for me. But I would say fair enough tie between Two Men in Town and The Woman Next Door.
Yeah,
That's a
for sure.
solid tie. If those were any of the two movies that we were to recommend just because they're so unique and so fun, I think it would have to be those two films.
Agreed. I like our definition of fun. I do.
It's really, yeah. Though it's you know what it is? It's movies that have slight significance, filmed really
It's movies
well.
that we had fun with, I feel like.
Yeah, that they're well acted, that they were a little bit of a surprise that we weren't expecting, not only because we didn't know much about the movie, but they're also a little bit surprising for the time.
Absolutely.
So those are our recap. This is our full recap for all the movies that we've talked about on Purple Noon that we've dedicated episode 4. Savannah, we've been at this for an hour and 45 minutes. How do you feel?
Feel great. It's been a great 100 episodes, guys. I'm so happy we've made it this far.
And 100 more. Is there any lasting residual thoughts that you have looking at this glorious list in front of you? Is there anything else that you're kind of like, well, I got to say one more thing about this film or that film?
I don't know if it's about a film, but I just really appreciate everyone that listens to us and have listened to us for the past 4 years. I appreciate people like our sensei David, our homeboy James, who were there from the beginning and I guess saw something in us and have been great supporters and almost mentors. And I appreciate all our Patreon members. I I guess I speak for both of us saying like this has been really great to just share our passion and also do something as best friends. So I'm very excited for hopefully the next 100 episodes, the next 4 years, and just keep doing this with my bestie.
Yeah, truly. Like this has just been so fun. It's been awesome and it's been nice to have almost like a structured hobby with my best
Yeah.
friend. I feel like it's just been really fun to do. And I think I went through like a period of time where I needed to step back and honestly, I feel better than ever about movies and I'm so excited to go back to our list and just kind of get some good movies in there and maybe some hidden bad movies, maybe some hidden gems, whatever it may be. And I have just been loving this and I totally agree. We've really built a nice, very small community, but I feel like a lot of the people that we've met along the way, especially those who are in our Patreons, have just been it's been so great seeing their support, because we're both in school. Sometimes it gets rough. I've never really thought about like pulling out from the podcast, but I know that there's been times where I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But the minute like, due to schoolwork or just not feeling well, whatever it may be. But even just seeing the little comments and stuff like that along the way, all the likes and everything, I think I can say for the both of us mean the world to us. So that is it for episode 100. Thank you for writing it out with us. We hope you enjoyed. Of course, we got to thank our patrons. So we have Sensei David, known as David Blakesley with the Criterion cast. We have Homeboy James, who is James Marsh. who is with the South China Morning Post as a movie critic. They have been probably two of the biggest proponents in our footing for the podcast. I feel like that's fair to say. And they've just been like, if there's any two people you want in your corner when you're doing a film podcast, it is them. So thank you guys both so much. We also have Danny Boy, who has just been an absolute supporter the entire time. We have our buddy Ryan, and we have Manny. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And we are excited to see what Purple Nude brings for 2024 and for the next 100 episodes. Take care. Bye.
Bye.